Chapter 5. Final tax on royalties. Under the regulation, 10% preferential royalty final tax on books and literary works pertain to printed literatures. Royalties on books sold on e-copies or CDs, such as e-books, are subject to the 20% final tax. Ano nga ba ang tinatawag nating tax on royalties? Basically, a royalty is a payment for the use of proprietary information. For instance, when a theater group pays a playwright to use their script, that is a royalty payment. Similarly, when a TV station pays a production company to air their films, that also a royalty payment. Passive royalty income received from sources within the Philippines is subject to the following final tax rates. Dito sa chart, makikita natin yung source of passive royalties, individual tax, and corporation tax. Kapag books, literary works, and musical composition, sa individual tax, they are 10% final tax, while sa corporation naman po, 20% final tax. Other sources, individual tax niya is 20% final tax, and ganun din sa corporation, 20% final tax. Sinasabi din dito na royalties of a passive nature such as royalties of claim owners or landowners of mining properties, royalties of inventors from companies that manufacture and sell their invention, and royalty from licensing agreements that transfer the use of trademark or technology are subject to 20% final tax. Final tax on prices. Final tax on prices is 20% except prices amounting to 10,000 or less, which shall be subject to regular income tax rate. The taxation of prices varies. Prices may be exempt from income tax or subject to either final tax or regular income tax. For the individual income taxpayers, taxable prices are subject to either final tax or regular tax, depending on the amount of the price. There may be events or competition where corporations earn prizes. Makikita natin sa table yung amount of taxable price, individual tax, and corporation tax. Sinasabi dito na kapag ang price is exceeding 10,000 pesos, siya ay nagiging 20% final tax sa individual tax, while sa corporation naman is siya ay regular tax. Kapag naman ang price is not exceeding 10,000 pesos, individual tax ay regular tax lang siya, ganun din sa corporation tax. Sa final tax on prices, meron tayong sinasabing exempt prices. Ito yung prices received by a recipient without any effort on his part to join a contest. Example na lang dito is Nobel Prize, Most Outstanding Citizen, Most Benevolent Citizen of the Year, and similar awards. Pati ang prizes from sports competition that are sanctioned by the respective national sports organization ay exempted din sa tax. Final tax on winnings. For individual income taxpayers, winnings received from sources within the Philippines are generally subject to 20% final tax, except Philippine Charities Sweepstakes Office or PCSO or lotto winnings amounting to 10,000 pesos or less. Similar to prices, there is no final tax imposed on corporate winnings under the NIRC or National Internal Revenue Code. Makikita natin sa chart yung types of winning, individual tax, and corporation tax. Sinasabi sa type of winnings na ang PCSO lotto winnings not exceeding 10,000 pesos ay exempted sa individual tax and corporation tax, while ang lotto winnings that exceeding 10,000 pesos ay 20% final tax sa individuals and corporation tax. Other winnings in general naman is sa individual 20% final tax, while sa corporation is regular tax lang siya. Final tax on informer's reward. A cash reward may be given to any person instrumental in the discovery of violations of the National Internal Revenue Code or discovery and seizure of smuggled goods. The tax informer's reward is subject to 10% final tax. Ano nga bang sinasabi nating informer? Ang informer is yung tagapagpaalam kung may nangyayari bang katiwalian sa isang organization. Sinasabi dito na kapag napatunayan ng isang informer na may katiwalian niyang nangyayari, siya ay magkakaroon ng cash reward. May tinatawag tayong requisites of tax informer's reward. Number 1 dito is definite sworn information which is not yet in the possession of the BIR. The second one is the information furnished lead to the discovery of fraud upon internal revenue laws or provisions thereof. The third one is enforcement results in recovery of revenues, surcharges and fees, and conviction of the guilt party or imposition of any fine or penalty. The last requisites of tax informer's reward is the informer must not be a BIR official or employee, other public official or employee, relative within the 6th degree or consanguinity of those officials or employee. Amount of cash reward. Whichever is the lower of the following per case. Number 1 is 10% of revenues, surcharges or fees recovered and or fine or penalty imposed and collected, or 1 million pesos. The amount of cash reward is subject to 10% final withholding tax, which shall be withheld by the government. Final tax on tax-free covenants bonds. Interest income of non-resident aliens, citizens, or residents of the Philippines on bonds, mortgages, deeds of trust, or other similar obligation or domestic or resident foreign corporation with tax-free or tax reduction provision where the obligor shoulders in whole or in part any tax on the interest shall be subject to a final withholding tax of 30%. Under such scenario, the critical part is the determination of the taxable base because some taxes are chargeable to the payee, the non-resident or foreign party, while some are chargeable to the resident of the Filipino party. Sa final tax on tax-free covenant bonds, ang tax on interest income on tax-free corporate covenant bonds sa individual tax ay 30% final tax siya, while sa corporation naman is regular income tax. Exception to the final taxation of certain taxpayers. Capital gain tax. As a rule, non-resident alien and non-resident foreign company do not file income tax returns. Exceptionally, non-resident alien and non-resident foreign company are required to file income tax returns to report their gain from dealings in domestic stocks directly to buyers. Ano nga ba ang non-resident alien and non-resident foreign company? Ang non-resident alien is a person who stays in the Philippines for 180 days or less. Ang non-resident foreign company naman is the one who does not have any presence in the Philippines but derives income in the Philippines. Makikita natin sa table ang non-resident alien tax and non-resident foreign company tax and their general final tax rate, which is 25% and 30%. Ang exceptions is number 1, capital gain on sale of domestic stocks directly to buyer. Sa non-resident alien, ang kanilang tax is 15% capital gain tax, while sa non-resident foreign company naman is 15% capital gain tax also. The second one is rental on cinematographic films and similar works. Sa non-resident aliens is 25% of rentals, ganun din sa non-resident foreign company, that is 25% of rentals. Number 3 is rental of vessels. Sa non-resident alien is 25% of rentals, sa non-resident foreign company naman is 4.5% of rentals. Number 4 is rental of aircrafts, machineries, and other equipments. That is 25% of rentals in non-resident alien, while 7.5% of rentals in non-resident foreign company. Sa interest income under the foreign currency deposit system naman is they are both exempted. Number 6 is interest on foreign loan. Sa non-resident aliens is none, while sa non-resident foreign company is 20%. 7. Dividend income. Sa non-resident alien, 25%, while sa non-resident foreign company is 15% if tax sparing rule is applicable. The last one is tax on corporate bonds. Sa non-resident alien and non-resident foreign company, they are both 30%. The tax sparing rule. Non-resident foreign company shall be subject to a 15% final tax on dividend income instead of 30% general final tax if the country of domicile of the non-resident foreign company credits against the tax due of such non-resident foreign company taxes presumed to have been paid by such non-resident foreign company from the Philippines equivalent to 15% of the dividends. Sinasabi dito na the current tax code provides that a non-resident foreign company may avail of this reduced tax rate if its country of domicile allows a minimum deemed paid tax credit amount equivalent to 15%, representing the difference between the 30% current regular income tax rate and reduced by 15% tax rate. It also means that the exemption from taxes allowed by the non-resident foreign company's country of domicile is sufficient to apply the 15% reduced tax rate. Other applications of the final income tax. Fringe benefit tax. It includes all remuneros under an employer-employee relationship that do not form part of compensation income. But first, what is fringe benefits? Fringe benefits are defined as any goods, services, or other benefits furnished or granted in cash or in kind by an employer to an individual employee. Interest and other income payments to depository banks under the expanded foreign currency deposit system. Resident other than depository banks under the expanded foreign currency deposit system shall withhold 10% final tax on income payments such as interest income on loans from offshore banking units and expanded foreign currency deposit units. Dito naman sa income payments sa subcontractors of petroleum service contractors, under PD 1354, every subcontractor, whether domestic or foreign, entering into a contract with a service contractor engaged in petroleum operations in the Philippines, shall be liable to a final income tax equivalent to 8% of its gross income derived from such contract. Such tax to be in lieu of any and all taxes, whether national or local. Final withholding tax return. Monthly remittance return of final income taxes withheld shall be filed in triplicate by every withholding agent or payer who is either an individual or corporation for the first 2 months of the quarter. You can use this to file creditable or expanded withholding taxes. These taxes are prescribed on specific incomes. For example na lang is professional talent fees, rental income, and payment to contractors. We have deadline in place for monthly manual filing. The return shall be filed and the tax shall be paid or before the 10th day of the month, following the month in which withholding was made with. A is the authorized agent bank of the Revenue District Office having jurisdiction over the withholding agent's place of business. B is in the place where there are no authorized agent banks to the Revenue Collections Officer. Letter C is the authorized city or municipality treasurer within the revenue districts where the withholding agent's place of business is located. Quarterly filing. The withholding agent shall file quarterly remittance return of final income tax withheld on or before the last day of the month after each quarter. Last one, we have entities exempt from final tax. Number 1, foreign governments and foreign government-owned and controlled corporations. 2 is international mission or organization with tax immunity. Number 3 is general professional partnership. And the last one is qualified employee trust fund.